basically what I'm going to be doing in this speech is going down and responding to everything that the affirmative speaker just stated, and then getting into some voting issues, or basically why I believe that the negative team should win today's debate round. Firstly, they were talking about how the framework is that of justice. And you can write down my response to this as justice is good, but not always moral. Again, justice is good, but not always moral. The resolution is that of civil disobedience is morally justified. Justice is okay, but it's not always moral in the way that it's gone about. If you are breaking the law to do that justice, that is not moral. And I will get into that a little bit later on in my speech as well. Next, they were talking about how the rule of law is not broken because it's not violent. And my response to this is that of encourages citizens to break the law. Again, encourages citizens to break the law. If one law is broken because under the claim of justice, under the claim of that it is wrong, then a lot of other laws are going to be broken as well. Because once you start doing one thing, it's easy to slip into doing more things. And just because a law is wrong doesn't mean that you should go against the law in order to break it, in order to try and fix it. Next, they were talking about how there are no better alternatives, and that's whenever that civil disobedience is justified. And you can write down my response to this as there are better alternatives. Again, there are better alternatives. There are better alternatives to civil disobedience, to breaking the law. Everyone is granted the freedom of speech. Everyone is granted the ability to do these things. So why break the law in order to justify something? Next, I'd like to get into some voting issues, or basically why I believe that the negative side should win in today's debate round. The first of those is moral responsibility. Again, moral responsibility. We have a moral responsibility to not break the law, to uphold the law. And the impact of this is that of justice isn't always moral. Again, justice isn't always moral. Justice, just because it sounds good, doesn't mean it's going to be moral. If you have to break the law in order to achieve justice, it's not moral. And there are better ways to achieve that justice than breaking the law. My second voting issue is, again, that of breaking the law. Again, breaking the law. Breaking the law is not a good thing, no matter how you look at it. You wouldn't want someone to break the law. You would go against them if they were breaking the law. And that's why civil disobedience isn't justified, is because in order to enact civil disobedience, you have to break the law. And the impact of that is that of not moral. Again, not moral. Breaking the law is never moral, no matter how you look at it. And my third and final voting issue is that of better alternatives. Again, better alternatives. As I've stated before in this speech and my speech before, there are better alternatives to breaking the law. You have the freedom of speech. You have the freedom of press in our democracy. You don't have to break the law in order to succeed in enacting justice, because it's not moral to break the law, and there are better alternatives to breaking the law. And the impact of all of that is disobedience is wrong. Again, disobedience is wrong. It is wrong to be disobedient no matter how you look at it, because you're breaking the law, because you're going against what your moral responsibility and what you were told to do. And lastly, I'd just like to look over everything that I said in my speech one more time. The first of that was justice is good, but not always moral. Justice isn't always moral because you can do things that are wrong in order to achieve that justice. Next was that of it encourages citizens to break the law. By breaking one law, you're encouraging yourself and others to break more laws. If someone sees you breaking that law, they're going to think that it's okay for them to break other laws. And next, it was that of there are better alternatives. Because there are better alternatives in a democracy to civil disobedience. That's why civil disobedience isn't justified. And lastly, my voting issues were those of moral responsibility, breaking the law, and better alternatives. And I cannot say this enough, but that is why the negative side, I am choosing to disagree with the resolution. Civil disobedience in a democracy is morally justified. Thank you.